Hello, everyone. Welcome down to Apter's Alley for OneWrestling.com, and you're here at the Apter Chat. And as you know, on June 4th, on the WWE Network, exclusive is Extreme Rules, and I wanted to get a guest on here from one of the WWE superstars that I could really get to the meat of the matter about this pay-per-view. But I just realized that the person I invited, well, he's a plant-based athlete. Austin Aries, welcome to the Apter Chat.
Hey, Bill, how's it going?
Good. It's good to see you as well. So what I want to talk to you about, of course, is beside being an incredible athlete in the ring, you've now also become an author. But before we get to that, this Sunday at Extreme Rules, it's you and Neville in a submission match. And he's currently the champion. And how many submission moves do you actually have?
Well, I don't know if it matters how many I have. I have the right one. And if I can lock that one in, I think that, I'll finally become the WWE Cruiserweight champion. So I don't want to tip my hand too much, Bill. We're just a few days away. But I've been going back watching some old footage of some of the great submission wrestlers and even some old footage from earlier in my career. And maybe I'll dust off a few old tricks and sprinkle a few new ones in. So, and we'll find out on Sunday if it's going to do the trick for me.
Well, as you know, we talked a day or two ago when we were setting up this interview, and I mentioned to you that Neville's got a real renewed enthusiasm and kind of a real evil enthusiasm about him. I've never seen him like this, and he could, at this point, be your most dangerous opponent.
I mean, well, he has been. I've had two opportunities to capture the championship. I've come up short each time. And we can question the methods of how he got the job done, but he got the job done. Whether it was putting a finger in my eye or getting disqualified, he got the job done. That's a new side of him that he's willing to do whatever it takes. Listen, the guy's in his physical peak. He's really found himself in the squared circle, and he's really operating at a high level. He's got a lot of confidence, and it's going to take a perfect game plan on Sunday. And that's what I hope to put forward.
And it's going to be submission only, so really looking forward to this match. So the reason that...
I have to bring back the old Von Raschke claw.
Oh, yes. Actually, so we're talking about the claw. One of the other people who was so famous for the claw was Killer Kowalski. And Killer Kowalski was also a plant-based athlete. I like that. A lot of people call it vegetarian. What's the difference?
Vegan, right, sure. Well, so a vegetarian would refrain from eating any meat, basically, any animals, but they would still maybe eat dairy or eggs. I stopped eating meat back in 2000 and was vegetarian for about 11 years, and then about 6 years ago now, I cut the dairy and the eggs out and became completely plant-based.
So what made you do that? What made you change from, were you a burger guy?
And that's really what the book, Food Fight's about. It does talk a little about my background and where I grew up and a little bit how I got into wrestling and a little bit of my journey there, but it really follows my journey of learning about food. And kind of taking a look at the things that I was, raised to eat and where it was coming from and the realities of where it was coming from, and if it was really good for me or not. And so, this book isn't so much about trying to convert anyone to be a vegan or give up your hamburger if you're a hamburger guy, but it's about understanding kind of the corporate food system that we're in and making informed decisions about the food that we put in our body, because it's really the building blocks for everything else that we are.
So you started this at 2011, so is the Austin Aries of 2011 forward a different athlete than he was pre-2011?
Well, I think really you have to go back to 2000, because in 2000 I really made the dramatic change of cutting all the animals out, so there was no more chicken breasts, which for most wrestlers, chicken breasts and tuna cans and things like that become staples. So really, that by cutting that out, I think when you start taking steps to inform yourself about food and just really learn about it, where it's coming from, and what it does for you, you can't help but see results. But I will say that cutting the dairy out, and especially the dairy, I do feel better. I think I look pretty good for my age. I still move really good. Move pretty well in the ring. And I like to think that some of that is a testament to the diet that I've had for now 17 years, and really strict in the last 6.
There are a lot of people who make the change and become plant-based. And I remember with my son when he was little, and he said, "I'm eating a cow." Was it something like that made you change your? I mean, what was it? I don't want to give the whole book away because it's a great book.
Well, and I don't mind kind of sharing that little moment. But there was a moment like that, where I was feeding some grass to a cow, and in that moment we're making this eye contact. And I was probably 7 or 8 years old. I was at my grandma's.
Oh, I didn't know this. See, I brought up my son. This was the same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's very similar, and it was just that moment of the realization of two living creatures kind of making a contact and realizing that we may not speak the language or understand each other, but there's the same element of a living creature. There's a thought, there's a feeling, there's something going on behind the eyes, and so there was just that moment of feeding it the grass and having that connection to another living thing, and then 30 minutes later, dinner served, and it was brats and burgers and then for that moment making that connection and not really having it sit right with me. But at that age, you don't question too much, and you eat what's on your plate if you want to have dessert. So, but that was kind of a little seed that was planted early on that later in life kind of sprouted.
So tell us about, how did this book come about? Because again, there are. I've known you for many, many years. You're a very intelligent person. How did this whole thing come about?
Well, it's kind of funny because when people find out that you're vegetarian or vegan, you can kind of automatically assume they're going to ask you one of 10 questions, or maybe all 10 questions, and they're usually what made you decide to do it? Is it for the ethical reasons? Is it for the health reasons? Was it hard? Is it expensive? How do you live without bacon? Right. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to live without bacon, because they really make a lot of plant-based, mock versions of all the stuff you like.
Well, don't they even make like tofu bacon?
Oh, I mean, they make. I eat double cheeseburgers. I eat bacon cheeseburgers. I eat BLTs. They can recreate flavors with plant-based material, and not saying that that's necessarily the healthiest, because just because something's vegan or plant-based doesn't necessarily mean it's healthy.
Right.
But you're right, Bill. We weren't going to be able to keep it up for the whole interview.
You see that?
And it exposed my green juice here. We put that over here.
But that's all right.
So I really feel like I'm missing out, and but again, it's been a 17-year journey. It's been a progression, step by step. I didn't do it overnight, and I think that's the other thing people. I could never do it. Well, of course you couldn't wake up tomorrow and just do it. That's a huge change. But if you start taking little steps and learning little information and then applying it and then learning a little more, before you know it, all those little steps become a big leap. You know?
So the gentleman that agreed to publish this from Gray Publishing, tell us how that came about, where how you met him and decided, hey, let's do this book.
Yeah, so I've been working with Josh Eldridge, who I met when I was working for the Nashville company, and he was really good in the social and the media and the PR department, and we really hit it off because he's also plant-based. And so when we both transitioned from there, he was in New York working with a talent firm, and he kind of took me on a little bit in a managerial role and was helping me out with some things. And Mike Tully was someone that he was acquainted with, who is the co-host for the Ellis Show on Sirius, Jason Ellis, and he had co-authored a book with Jason, kind of autobiography and that was a New York Times bestseller. And so Josh kind of pitched the idea of, hey, I've got this guy I'm working with who's interesting in the realm of that. He's a plant-based athlete in the world of professional wrestling, which to some people would seem like a bit of an oxymoron.
Really.
So, we got to talking, and we just decided that, let's try to put a little something out. And it's not really an autobiography. It's not really all about wrestling, and it's not really all like a cookbook, but it's just kind of a little bit of a combination of the three to just kind of set the table for maybe some future things.
So, life on the road with this specific diet. A lot of the guys in the dressing room, hey, let's go out and have some Kentucky Fried Chicken or whatever, or burger. How does this work with you?
I don't know what locker rooms you've been in, Bill, but nobody's going to, other than going to KFC. Maybe the Waffle House. Maybe the Waffle.
Oh yes, every town the wrestlers always hung out at the Waffle House.
Every town has the Waffle House.
Yes.
Yeah. I think for me it's just I always travel with some types of foods, so if I'm ever in a situation, listen, at 12 o'clock or 1 in the morning or 11 p.m., whenever we're getting out of some of these shows and hitting the road, your food choices, no matter what you hit dietary restrictions, are going to be very good for you.
Very slim.
So a lot of the guys are going to, like I said, they might be carrying, tuna packets, or they go and they bring something, they grab something on the way. I just have different things. I have packets of lentils, or I have, plant-based protein powder instead of whey protein powder. So if they want to go to the steakhouse, I'll get the spinach salad and throw some black lentils on there and some New England steak sauce, and I'm good to go.
So this is almost like a religion.
I mean, it's a way of life, right?
Yeah.
I guess in some ways that would be a religion if you want to look at it that way. But yeah, it's a way of life. It's people always go, oh, if everything could go back, and it's not even. I don't really think about it. The idea for me, like at its core, beyond the ethical reasons or the environmental reasons or the health reasons, I think just something about eating like another living thing to me just isn't that appealing.
Yeah, it can become pretty gross. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think once I took my head out of the sand and connected some dots, I couldn't disconnect them and pretend I didn't know. And and the fact that I'm lucky enough to live in a country and have the means to be able to go out and sustain my life without having to take others, and that's something cool about that.
What do you eat for weight, to make sure you're, some people are going to say, well, if it's plant-based and everything, this guy's going to be a little skinny. What do you eat?
Calories. I mean, avocados, nuts, lentils, beans, rice, a lot of carbohydrates. I eat a moderate fat, moderate protein, and high carbohydrate diet. More often than not, but they're complex carbs. I can get away with that. Other people might not be able to eat as many carbs, but yeah, I don't know.
So let's talk about a guy you can probably go out to eat with pretty regularly, and I didn't know this until about 3 hours ago when I did some research. Daniel Bryan, also.
Oh yeah, Daniel Bryan, and I don't know that and again, I'm not big on labels or if you're not 100% vegan, it doesn't count type of thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that he's for some time been plant-based. I know sometimes he eats some fish or does some things, but he's very mindful of what he puts in his body, and he's definitely skewed more towards a plant-based diet, which is cool. And you'd really be surprised, Bill. More and more guys and girls in the locker room who are starting to embrace it, to a certain extent. And again, it doesn't mean going all the way to the left end of the spectrum, but sliding somewhere in that median and just being mindful of maybe, skipping the meat every once in a while and trying different foods, that maybe you wouldn't necessarily try.
I mean, when you look at the stars of the WWE, all of them, you can tell that fitness is so important. It's not like back in the old days where guys would just go drink some beers and have a couple of burgers and the next day do it all over again. The the fitness and the health is really key in the WWE now, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if you want to excel with the schedule that the performers keep on the road as much as we do, I think you have to. If you want to have any longevity, I think you have to kind of take the fitness aspect and what you eat kind of seriously. And everyone has their own, their own ideas on what that means. But yeah, I think most people in our industry are pretty mindful of what they're putting in their body.
That's great. So tell us now where people can, if you can hold the book up there for a moment, we'll have a screenshot of it too. But where can people find this book? Where can they order it?
So the easiest way is just to go to austinariesbook.com, and through the website right there, you can pre-order the book. It comes with a limited edition commemorative T-shirt, which is pretty cool, and so that's the easiest way. We're going to do it right through the website right now, make it nice and easy, austinariesbook.com.
And I understand from my spies out there that you will be making autograph appearances all over the place in the not too distant future.
Yeah, we're hoping to set some some signings, maybe find some good plant-based cafes and restaurants along the way when I'm on the road, and try to meet up with some fans and sign some books. All
right. Where can people find you on social media?
At Austin Aries on Twitter, and at Austin Healy Aries, Healy, and that would be on Instagram.
All right. And you finally realized your dream. You're in the WWE. I know for years when I'd see you on the road, you always, like everyone else, just said, that's the place to be. So it's so great to see you there. Now, two more things. Neville may be watching this right now. So is there anything you'd like to look into the camera and say to him?
Nah, I think we've said enough. I think we'll let all the speaking take place on Sunday.
All right. So what I'd like to do real quick, if you don't mind. By the way, you're eating a banana. I want to show you what I got for our interview.
Nice.
Del Monte canned spinach. It's my favorite.
I would be. Yeah.
I eat tons of this. So if you wouldn't mind, can we go over some of the matches for the pay-per-view on Sunday, and let's have your predictions?
Okay.
All right, so let's, I've got the official card right here. And I want to thank the WWE, by the way, and your book company for allowing us to do this. And, of course, the pay-per-view is June 4th on the WWE Network. It's only $9.99. It's the best bang for the buck. I mean, if you're a sports entertainment, pro wrestling fan, you got to get it. So I watch everything on that one. Okay, so let's start off with the Fatal 5-Way for the Universal title, and the winner of this match goes on, of course, to meet Brock Lesnar. So it's Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. Put you on the spot. Who do you pick?
This may not be the popular opinion, Bill, but I don't know how you bet against Roman Reigns right now.
Okay.
So, I'm gonna go.
All right, so Roman Reigns. Then it'll be the Hardys versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the Raw Tag Team Championship, of course. Hardys right now really on a high.
Yeah, they're riding momentum. They look good, and it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but you've seen Cesaro and Sheamus with kind of a new attitude themselves lately. I'm going to say that they may be a little opportunists and find a way to steal a victory. I'm going to go with Sheamus and Cesaro, yeah.
Now, this one's really unusual because I've never seen ladies involved in this. Alexa Bliss versus the Hugger Bailey with a kendo stick on a pole match for the women's title. And, of course, the champion is Alexa Bliss.
Mm-hmm. I think Bailey. I think we're going to see a different side of Bailey. She's going to start swinging that kendo stick, and she's going to teach Alexa a lesson. That's my prediction.
Hardcore Bailey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Yeah. I think she might beat her so bad with the kendo stick that after she beats her, she's just going to give her a big hug.
That would be interesting. Then we've got Neville against Austin Aries. We already talked about that. And finally, Dean Ambrose.
Oh, you don't want a prediction on that match, Bill?
I think you made it pretty clear, but you know what? Let me put you on the spot. Neville, the champion, versus Austin Aries.
I think it's really a toss-up. It really is.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to whoever makes the critical mistake.
And it's a submission match.
And it's a submission match.
Yeah, yeah. All right, well, anxious to see that one. And of course, for the Intercontinental Championship, it's The Miz trying to get the belt back from Dean Ambrose.
Yeah. Back to the last one. I'm going to have to go with Austin Aries. It's going to be, but I'm going to go with Austin Aries.
You're going to go with Austin Aries. Okay. All right.
Now, for the Intercontinental Championship match, I think Dean Ambrose retains. Yeah. I think somehow maybe Maurice. I don't know. I think Dean Ambrose retains. I don't know why I'm feeling it. It's my prediction, Bill.
Okay. And
All
finally, right. the final question here before I let you go. This is kind of an unusual question for me to ask wrestling people, sports entertainment people, but I ask everybody this just to see what is wrestling fixed?
Bill.
Think about it.
Is wrestling fixed?
Yeah.
I didn't know it was broken.
We'll see you at the matches. Austin Aries, thank you so very much. Get the book. That web address one more time.
AustinAriesBook.com. It may change your life, or it may not.
Yeah.
But you won't know until you read it.
Bill Apter down here at Apter's Alley. Thank you, Austin Aries. And good luck in your match against Neville.
Appreciate it.